Just stop fiddle farting around and get to it.
This week on isletunes, danceable worthiness with Ava and Lily, a new album washes up on Prism Shores, and an isletunes flashback to kick off Black History Month. He's ready, PEI? Let's get her done! How's she going, Prince Edward Island? I am your host, Adam Michael James, and you are listening to the PEI Arts Award-nominated isletunes for the week of February 2nd, 2025. This episode is sponsored by Repeats, quality used clothing for the whole family and year-round costume center, with an extra special hello and thanks to Mary. Hello and thanks, Mary. February 2nd. It's Groundhog Day. The first mention of it was in 1840, and I think this year Punxsutawney Phil saw his shadow, which means 4 more years of fascism. I won't go on about it long, but looky here. It's Black History Month now, and down in the States, their Department of Defense decided to stop observing that, and also Women's History Month, Pride Month, National American Indian Heritage Month, and more. Plus, the Orange Menace has threatened to prosecute teachers who refer to their transgender and non-binary students by their preferred pronouns or let them use the restroom that aligns with their identities. Oh, and those teachers would be registered as sex offenders. Yep, Adolf would be proud. I mention it here to say, don't let this stuff also happen in the Great White North. And if you're feeling discouraged and flattened by all this crap, know that this show is going to keep celebrating diversity and not erasing it, because you are so worth it. And I've got a little island cheer music to that effect, but before we hit it, let's tell you about these heavy hitters. There's 2 of them. Now, just because you come from a successful musical family doesn't automatically mean you're going to meet that same success. Pedigree can only take you so far. Thankfully for these twins, they have more than enough talent to make the journey on their own. The pop country duo of Ava and Lily, as in Ava and Lily Rashid, do indeed have David Rashid of Haywire fame as their pop. Digging deeper, their granddad was Charlie Chamberlain, who was known as Don Messer's singing lumberjack in the 50s and 60s. Despite all that name, it was an Instagram video the twins made that caught the attention of a casting agent in LA, which landed them on a Nickelodeon music competition show in 2019. It probably helped that the year before, Ava and Lily released a self-titled album, their first, and it just so happens that it closes out with the anthem of empowerment I mentioned a minute ago. And they were 13 when they recorded this? Dude! Ava and Lily kicking off this episode of isletunes with Worth It. You totally are.
Thinking back when, wish I knew then that I know how to brush the dirt off my knees from you and then pushing me down. 'Cause baby, my life is good, don't need to change a single thing to fit your rules. You better keep your eyes wide open, 'cause baby, you might miss out. You should know I'm doing well. You hide behind a screen, although I can tell those words are how you feel about yourself. If I could go back in time, I'd run up to you. I would tell you everything that back then I never knew.
J'ai perdu trac de toutes ces années où je fais tout pour t'oublier. Comme Saint-Pierre, j'ai fait carrière de trembler de peur de te renier. Je t'ai quitté sans jamais partir de mon coin de pays où j'avais grandi. J'étais si fière, si arrogante que je n'avais pas besoin de toi. Je te reviens, mon Acadie, comme un enfant qui était perdu. Bercé, bercé, moi dans tes bras, je veux récréer ces années perdues. Danser la nuit pour fêter ton histoire. Je t'offre un cadeau, ce chant c'est dit, car je te reviens, mon Acadie. J'avais oublié ta langue si douce, toutes ces chansons et ces poèmes. Je pouvais lire dans ton visage que tu me manquais, ça faisait la peine. Mais je suis de retour à tes côtés. Et plus jamais je m'en irai du pays d'Évangéline acadienne. Je mourrai. Je te reviens, mon Acadie, comme un enfant qui était perdu. Bercé, moi dans tes bras, je veux récréer ces années perdues. Danser la nuit pour fêter ton histoire. Je t'offre un cadeau, ce chant c'est dit, car je te reviens, mon Acadie. Je te reviens, mon Acadie, comme un enfant qui était perdu. Bercé, bercé, moi dans tes bras, je veux récréer ces années perdues. Danser la nuit pour fêter ton histoire. Je t'offre un cadeau, ce chant c'est dit, car je te reviens, mon Acadie, car je te reviens, mon Acadie.
Adrienne Gallant on iTunes with Je te reviens mon Acadie, or as Google Translate phrases it, I come back to you, my Acadia. I'm sure that's not 100% accurate, but you get the idea. One thing that is accurate is that the cut is from the album Ballade, un projet père et fille, the 2018 collaboration between vocalist Adrienne and her songwriter father, Paul Gallant. Paul did a lot to elevate Acadian theater in the Evangeline area in the 90s, and he also wrote songs for Marcella Richard, Angie Arsenault, Panu, and others. Paul has lived in Cape Breton for over 2 decades, but when he left PEI, he captured his feelings about doing so in these lyrics. Adrienne started the ball of the album rolling by performing her pop's pieces here on the island, and reaction was so positive that Paul recruited Adrienne to make a record. I just realized that this episode's first 2 songs involve father-daughter combos, Father's Day and Feb. Most 3-year-old kids are just mastering the basics of potty training. When Keelan Wedge was 3, she was learning step dancing. Keelan added the fiddle to her repertoire by age 6, and now she's an island fixture, performing and recording as part of Fiddler's Son since 2016, and you can often find her on stage with partner Christine Cameron and also Kelly Mooney. Somewhere in between literal baby steps and emerging as one of PEI's musical mainstays, Keelan achieved her dream of recording an album, said 2006 album being Fingers on Fire. Before you break out the burn cream, get ready for your ears to get hot. While Keelan impressively tackled contemporary compositions by others and traditional medleys alike, I want to fuel the flames of her original work, the St. Louis Jig. No, not St. Louis, Missouri, the one on the island. You know, the one near when you're almost in Tignish or Skinner's Pond, over for frick's sake. Look it up. What am I, human GPS already? Oh, yeah, Keelan Wedge on iTunes. Keelan Wedge wedging a lot of talent into a mere 2 original minutes. That's her St. Louis Jig from the album Fingers on Fire, a musical shot fired by isletunes. Coming up, Lone Cry has a quickie. Things get frosty during a world premiere from Prism Shores, and this is one American who will acknowledge Black History Month by way of an iTunes Flashback Interview. I don't know, do they teach kids about bygone days on the island here? I was well into adulthood by the time I got here, so that's a question I can't answer. But I can tell you that even a podcast can be educational, and without those stuffy-ass textbooks I'm sure haven't changed since I was in school. Study this and you'll get an A+ in This Week in PEI History. February 5th, 1953. The Guardian of the Gulf, no, not the Gulf of America, published a story about 60 members of the Royal Canadian Air Force helping to plug gaps in the seawall lining Great Yarmouth, England on that country's east coast, after gale winds and an unprecedented tidal surge caused historic flooding in the low-lying region. Those deployed from their base in Rutland, 125 miles west, included leading Air Cadet Ken MacDonald from St. Peter's Bay. Wearing parkas and armed with sandbags, MacDonald and the others worked to stave off further watery inundation as heavy rains continued to pour down. Britain eventually called the disaster, which killed 307 people and left 40,000 homeless, the worst they'd experienced in the 20th century, and the devastation extended across the North Sea in Belgium and the Netherlands and up in Scotland. February 6, 1929, the Charlottetown Guardian announced the results of an ongoing egg-laying contest for the week ending January 30th. I can't quite figure out how this eggs position worked because there's point systems and the first, second, third, etc. places seem to be reversed, but I can tell you that they took all of this very seriously. Apparently, between these competing farms in Kensington, Charlottetown, and Fredericton, for some reason, I don't know what they were doing and what was specifically labeled a PI event, there were 549 eggs laid, which was 70 more than the week ending January 23rd. The article attributed that to mild weather. It doesn't say when the contest started, just that 6,300 eggs had been laid at that point, an increase of 1,740 from the year before. Speaking of years, wonder how these folks would react to how pricey our eggs are 96 years on. February 8, 1941, the Charlottetown Guardian reported that the United States Munitions and Supply Department had, the previous week, awarded contracts totaling some $7.5 million. Don't know if that's in Canadian or American, but it works out to $161 million in 2025 dollars to companies all over the Maritimes. These contracts concerned orders in the way of food, clothing, shipbuilding, fuel, and in the case of M.F. Sherman Company Limited of Summerside, construction and defense. Good thing the sitting U.S. president then didn't instigate a needless trade war, because he was busy fighting fascists instead of being one. We've barely scratched the surface of PEI's music scene, so don't go away. isletunes will be right back after this.
Longing to refresh your wardrobe but don't want to break the bank doing it? Give yourself the treat of Repeats. Clothes? Of course they have clothes, but Repeats also stocks accessories, jewelry, shoes, plus household items and decorations. And let's not forget costumes, including props and makeup you usually can only find elsewhere at Halloween. All for prices so fabulous, you can work the runway your way. Repeats. Quality used clothing for the whole family and year-round costume center. 95 Capitol Drive in Charlottetown, in the Owl's Hollow building. You'll definitely make a repeat trip to Repeats.
Hi, this is Keegan Bernard, and you're listening to isletunes.
Not the living room quickie you were expecting, was it? But that's the name of this song, is realized by the drum group Lone Cry on isletunes. They've been teaching islanders about Mi'kmaq culture for years, and this resulted in what seems to be their lone album so far from 2014, Koju Anishinaabe. I hope I didn't mangle that pronunciation. Anishinaabe means native person in Ojibwe, the Ojibwe being the second largest population of Indigenous peoples in Canada. Lone Cry is based out of the Scotch Fort Reserve in Abuguit First Nation, and they travel to cultural events to share and produce traditional music on island and off. If you listen to country music these days, well, in large part it's become indistinguishable from pop music, complete with auto-tune. The cowboys don't even wear cowboy hats anymore, sob! Hey, what can I say? I was a DJ at a country station during the genre's traditional renaissance of the late 80s and early 90s. But this artist brought old school back in a way that had islanders throwing peanut shells on the floor and scraping wood shavings off their boots. Peggy Clinton started singing when she was 5, and as an adult, she performed in the groups Landslide and the Wildflowers. You may know her best, however, from her stage sharing with Johnny Ross of Haunted Hearts and, naturally, the Ross family. In 2014, Peggy achieved her goal of recording an album of original music, and that self-titled record is steeped in the harmonies and steel guitars that would have made Loretta Lynn and Tammy Wynette smile. If you know, you know. isletunes brings you Peggy Clinton and Dancin' with Her Memory. Hey, you say crying in your beer like it's a bad thing.
He sits all alone at a table for two. Memories take him back to a love he once knew. He hears that sweet melody they used to dance to. He dances alone now to their favorite tune. Dancing with her memory on that old dance hall floor, swaying to the music, going back and forth. Gone now forever, he'll hold her no more. Dancing with her memory on that old dance hall floor. He goes back in time, a time that he loved. With his sweet young Mary, they were so in love. He hears her heart beating with every step, still holds her in his arms like she never left. Dancing with her memory on that old dance hall floor, swaying to the music, going back and forth. Gone now forever, he'll hold her no more. Dancing with her memory on that old dance hall floor, keeping her in his memories on that old dance hall floor.
She looks in the mirror, she don't like what she sees. She's got a hunger she can't seem to feed. It's taking her and she quietly hides. She's crying the color right out of her eyes. She's crumbling to nothing and she's losing her mind. So she locks all the doors and she quietly hides. She's dying to be beautiful. She's fading, falling apart. Just dying to be beautiful. And the only thing that's hungry is her heart.
She screams out for help, but she can't make a sound. She tries to look normal when she's out in a crowd. She wears long sweaters and pulls the sleeves down. She screams out for help, but she can't make a sound. She's just dying to be beautiful. She's fading and falling apart. Just dying to be beautiful. And the only thing that's hungry is her heart. No matter how hard she tries, it's eating her up inside. And she don't know why she's dying to be beautiful. She's fading and falling apart. Just dying to be beautiful. And the only thing that's hungry is the only thing that's hungry is her heart. Her heart. She looks in the mirror. She don't like what she sees.
PEI's Trinity Bradshaw duetting with Calgary's Troy Kokel on Dying to Be Beautiful, a single from 2023 on isletunes. As you picked up from the lyrics, the track tackles the subject of body dysmorphia, a dissatisfaction with perceived flaws or imperfections that can range from mild anxiety to preoccupation that affects other parts of a person's life. Whether this is a chronic condition that requires therapy or it's occasional annoyances that stick in our craw, it seems most of us can relate to this on some level as he looks down at his belly. As for Trinity, the Summerside native lived in Calgary herself, performing there and beyond, but came back to the island, don't we all, where she currently balances careers in music and real estate. From this song alone, I think her quote on her Facebook page rings true. I write songs that make people feel. I sing them to make me feel. To build on what I was saying before, while lots of us who do leave the island eventually come back, I did this myself at one point and I wasn't even born here, there are reasons that people fly off it or drive off it or ferry off it. For Jack McKenzie, Ben Goss, Luke Pound, and Finn Dalbeth, that reason was to take the band they started out on PEI and repot it in the soil of Montreal in a play for greater success. The group in question is Prism Shores, and as Jack stated in an interview, they needed a name. So those two words popped out of a random name generator at the last minute before the guys hit the stage to play a gig. Jack's still kind of meh about the moniker, and Ben, also meh, added that the horse is out of the gate by now, so Prism Shores it is and shall be. They debuted with an EP in 2019, followed by a full album in 2022, and for 2025 they're back with a new album, Out From Underneath, that just came out 2 weeks ago. They released no less than 4 singles leading up to it, so let's skip those and do a deep dive with an album cut because that's the kind of guy I am. Jangle pop, dream pop, shoegaze, whatever you want to call it, with temps in the single digits. Alright, that's Fahrenheit, but I still can't get the hang of Celsius. It's all minus and whatnot, okay? This is the appropriately titled for the weather coolness of Killing Frost. It's from Prism Shores, and it's an
isletunes world premiere.
Can I just not tell you why I turn innocent? I know just how it feels. Left is smaller in me. It finds its way in, I steal away again. Can you guide me in? Have we lost our patience? How much love lies in dreaming? I promise I've tried and I do. Something precious and fine, escaping from underneath where we lie. I can't refuse the cruelty man. After all, we tried 100 times. Normalized in our ways, our eyes just can't seem to meet. I wait for you to turn away. And after all the ended tears I've cried, it still sees and bites the quiet rain in our minds. Sorry when you were up by my side. The emptiness, another notice said, I sacrifice it all. I learn all the time to spend. Haven't said, promises never break, but I don't mind at all. I learn all the time to spend. Can I just not tell you? Buzzing depths I can't turn from. I know just how you feel.
A little bit of PEI in the MTL. That's Prism Shores on isletunes with Killing Frost, a selection from their new album Out From Underneath, which very much came out from underneath January 17th. Yeah, that rhymes, I know. I think it's safe to bet that the dudes are going to do some shows in support of their new record. Hopefully Seatown will be on their touring to-do list. Still to come, raccoons, rattlesnakes, and opening up this Black History Month with some way backing to last Black History Month via a chat with the Umbrella Collective. When Prism Shores does come to town, I'll let you know. But in the meantime, there's a slew of shows happening in this second month of 2025 for me to tell you about. So open up your day planners or digital calendars or whatever you use and get ready to fill them with gigs to dig across Prince Edward Island. Thursday, February 6th, it's Island Jazz, Spencer Soloduca, and Mercy Please at Baba's Lounge. They're also there on the 7th and 8th. Friday, February 7th, Zebedee plays at Upstreet Craft Brewing. Also on the 7th, it's Holland College School of Performing Arts Winter Concert Series at Florence Simmons Performance Hall in Charlottetown. Saturday, February 8th, it's Winter Jazz, Nathan Wiley at the Poorhouse in Charlottetown. Also on the 8th, The Burning Hell with special guest Tanya Davis. They're at Copper Bottom Brewing in Montague. And finishing up the 8th, it's Lady Soul at the Trailside Music Hall. Looking into next week, February 9th, it's the Island Jubilee Old Time Radio Music Show Valentine's Special, featuring Ivan and Vivian Hicks, Courtney Hogan Chandler, and Olivia Blacquier. They're at the Florence Simmons Performance Hall. February 13th, it's the Nick Donoff, Dennis Ellsworth, and Scott McKay Songwriters Circle at the Trailside. The next night at the Trailside, February 14th, Valentine's Day, it's Amanda Jackson and Route 225's Valentine's or Not show. And February 15th, it's the Love Junkies at the Pony Boat in Charlottetown. Don't forget, Baba's Lounge holds an open mic night every Wednesday at 9 p.m., hosted by the one and only Hinley.
Hi, this is Sarah Siegel-Lazar, and you're listening to isletunes.
That's why I stay. Now
cousins Troy MacArthur and Mike Dixon, otherwise known as Rattlesnake and Daddies, on isletunes, with a cut from their self-titled ECMA-nominated album of 2006, Summerside Blues. The Dads would know a little bit about that topic since they hail from Summerside themselves, and you can hear their love for the Deep South blues styles of the 1920s, 30s, and 40s in their own output. In fact, they pulled their name from the ditty I'm a Rattlesnake and Daddy that Blind Boy Fuller recorded in 1935. Troy and Mike also stormed stages together in a separate group, the Saddle River String Band, and Troy has been a part of more bluegrassy ensemble Whitecap Drive. Like the Rattlesnake and Daddy Blind Boy Fuller described, these guys get around. You can complain about the cold, but at least right about now the raccoons aren't slinking around rummaging through your trash. But if those masked mammals are hibernating instead of grooving on your garbage, these raccoons simply groove all year round. Of course, I'm talking about Raccoon Bandit, made up of Fraser McCallum, Roger Carter, and brothers Scott and Adam Gallant, who got together in 2008 and released their first album in 2011. They followed with their second 4 years later and added a couple of singles in 2018, which is where they left off. But with everything they put out, you got into it. And what do you know? That's the lead single from their 2015 record, Close Your Eyes. So open your ears and rock out with Raccoon Bandit on isletunes.
Our love was lost about a year ago. Do you pay a cost? How will we ever know? Then the gossip reporters, they will break your scoop. Was my story in order? What makes it even news? I was straight as an arrow, clear as a bell. The lines that ran narrow, and the axe just fell. And you and me, you know we could do better. I think you would agree that we could do better. We could do better. You got into it, and you fell out of it. And you got into it, and you fell out of it. Then your love is born, just like a rising tide. And should I be forewarned, or light a flame inside? I keep a quiver of arrows. You got your shield and your shell. On the straight and narrow, I will do you well. And you and me, you know we could do better. I think you would agree that we could do better. We could do better. We could
Clean Bandit on iTunes with You Got Into It off of Close Your Eyes, their 2015 CD. 10 years already? Don't close your eyes, because that clock ticks fast. Now, just because my home country of the U.S. is trying to erase Black History Month by deleting it off the White House's website and having its Department of Defense refuse to use official resources to mark identity months, that ain't how it's going to roll here. In fact, let's give you a little history of Black History Month. It actually started out as Negro History Week in 1926, and it happened in mid-February to coincide with the birthday of Abraham Lincoln, who of course abolished slavery during his presidency, and also Frederick Douglass. He was considered the most important Black leader advocating for African American civil rights in the 19th century. That week expanded into a month in 1970 thanks to the efforts of Black educators and students at Kent State University in Ohio the year before, and Black History Month was first recognized nationally by then-President Ford in 1976. Canada's House of Commons followed suit in 1995, and by 2008, Black History Month was officially recognized by the Senate here, defining the observation as a chance to celebrate, quote, the achievements and contributions of Black Canadians and their communities who have done so much to make Canada a culturally diverse, compassionate, and prosperous country, unquote. Did you hear that, America? Culturally diverse and compassionate? That's right. Now, 2 years ago, if someone had mentioned the name The Umbrella Collective to you, you might have thought it was a Facebook group for people who collect umbrellas. But now you can't hear the name without recalling their landmark debut album, Welcome to Studio UC, which dropped in November 2023. I had the opportunity to speak with two of the collective's 6 members, bassist and vocalist Tamara Steele and lyricist and MC Luik Nyonsenga, and talk about diversity. These guys have that in spades, but I'm going to let them tell you why as we jump back to February of last year in this
iTunes Flashback.
We are back in the iTunes studio, also known as my basement. Now, continuing the attempt to amplify Black History Month, I have, well, 1/3 of a band that is truly a demonstration in diversity. They've taken the sounds of hip-hop, R&B, neo-soul, and Afrobeat and molded them into something that is truly their own. Not to mention, pretty much as soon as their debut album, Welcome to Studio UC, dropped, it earned both Music PEI and ECMA Awards nominations. Here today are 2 representatives from the Umbrella Collective. Okay, so I'm really glad you're here. Tell us your names and what your parts are in the band.
My name's Tamara, and I am the bass player, and I do some vocals as well.
Yeah, my name is Loic, and I'm a vocalist. I'm there.
Good, I like that. Now, there are 6 of you. Who are we missing?
We're missing C. Ruth, who is the other primary vocalist, along with Loic. We're missing Sidhu, who is our keyboard player and also producer.
Executive producer, record producer, all titles.
Produces everything.
Produces everything, makes all the sounds. And we're missing our guitar player, Mark Steele, who's my husband. And we're missing our drummer, who's Jonathan Holmes.
Cool. I would have liked to have had all of you here, but only so much room.
Yeah.
So the basement's only so big. How did you guys come together, and what inspired the name Umbrella Collective?
So I can say, like, what inspired the name Umbrella Collective is from Charlie Ruth.
The Umbrella Collective comes from actually a photo of Charlie's mom.
Really?
Yeah. So Charles's mom's name is Ruth, and there's this photo of Ruth, of her holding this umbrella, this like tricolor umbrella. And it's just a beautiful picture of her that he really loves. And when we were thinking of a name, he had already been using that umbrella based on that photo as a brand name for Ruth's Media, which is a brand that he carried. And we brought that over into the collective, and we call it the Umbrella Collective. And it just became a defining symbol of what we do somehow.
Well, and it also works because it's an umbrella. You're all under this umbrella of music that you make with this certain style that you have. And it is a very unique style, I think.
Thank you.
Now, you're all from different places and ethnicities, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Nationalities anyway. Yeah.
Right. You're from...
I'm from Rwanda.
Right.
Yeah, we have Nigerian representation. We have Canadian representation, but everyone who's Canadian is from a different province. Who else? That's and India. Yes.
Oh, wow.
India. Yeah.
See, so it totally works. What is the collaboration process when there are 6 of you?
Well, that's a good question.
How does that work? Obviously, it does.
It works in many different ways. So, like, sometimes you'll bring a song that you've already started working on, or sometimes Charles might bring a song that he's already started working on. Sometimes it starts with me being like, hey, check out this bass line I just made up right now. A lot of the times it's somebody fiddling something, whether it's a drum beat or a guitar riff or a bass line or something, that Sid just happens to be like, hang on, let's record this.
Yeah. Before we forget.
Yeah, and then it becomes a song somehow. Somebody puts a verse on it or makes up a freestyle, and then we're like, oh, we like that, and then we keep it like it's all very organic.
Yeah, we just build on everything. Like, we start with the basic, like you said, bass line, something, and then we all just come up with our own ideas, and we just layer it up, and it brings up something magical.
And you're all so in tune with each other that it just sort of blends together, like you said, organic.
Yeah, absolutely. There's one thing that gets said so often, and like we do all of our rehearsing and recording in my living room.
I know the feeling.
Yeah. So there's like one thing that gets said often is, got anything else? So if we're recording something or if we're creating something, Sid will say, got anything else? Got anything else? And it feels almost like not like you can't say no, but like no isn't the right first answer. So we just keep coming up with stuff until we feel like the song
and finding
is done.
new inspiration and things to contribute to what's going on in the moment.
I think if we were to sit down and say, okay, let's write a song. Who's got an idea? Then I feel like we wouldn't come up with ideas. I think the inspiration comes from each of us. So instead of putting the parameter of, okay, let's write a song right now, let's start with the bass line. Tamara, what do you got? It's like, it's not like that, right? Who's got a verse that we can start with? It's more like, if I have an idea, I'm going to be just sitting and fiddling, and something might come up that I really like, and I'll say, hey, listen to this. And then that will make Mark think of, just kind of fiddling on his guitar. This actually sounds good with that. And then you might come up with a line, or Charlie might come up with a line, and we might be like, oh, that was so good.
Yeah.
And then that prompts more and more. So we're feeding off of each other.
Yeah, so one inspires the next. And did you guys even begin to imagine when you were working on Welcome to Studio UC that it would end up getting all these nominations? I mean, how do you feel about it?
I think when we first started recording, we didn't even know we were recording an album. It was like Sid got some new recording gear and was like, can we bring it to the house? Yeah. Can I bring my gear to the house? And we were like, why wouldn't you bring your gear to the house? and then from there, it was just like they were recording everything, every sound that was coming out, they were recording it. And so we'd be like, oh, I wish that was so good. I wish we had recorded it. And they'd be like,
but we did.
But we did. But I feel like we started recording just because we were like, let's see what this feels like. And then we got wind of some deadlines. Yeah. And then we were like, oh my gosh, we could make this an album and we could meet these deadlines. Mm-hmm. So we definitely were working towards applying. But I think it was less about let's get awards and more about let's give ourselves a deadline so we can do this thing.
Yeah, because it's easy to just go, oh, well, we'll just keep working on it until the cows come home. But
yeah, and we could have. As many times as we were like, I just wish I had more time with that, and I wish we could have changed that, and I wish we could have done that differently.
Yeah, and I feel like we will probably still be working on the tape. if knowing how really we want to make something sound the way we thought of it, we will still be in there like.
But then, so the deadline kind of lit a fire under you, but then you guys lit a fire under Music PEI. So there too.
Wow.
See? Worked that in there. And congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just, they always say just being nominated is an honor, but it is.
It
really is. But I hope you guys win. So do you feel that representation of Black artists on PEI is improving, or do you think there's still room for improvement?
I think both of those things are true at the same time.
Yes.
I think there are definitely more. I wouldn't say I think, I say I know there are definitely more Black artists here than there were 5-10 years ago, let alone 25 years ago when I moved here. Representation's a funny word, though, because, like, in terms of are we here, do we exist, Black artists? Yes. Are we being represented properly? No.
That's what I thought, but I wanted to get your take on it.
Yeah. So there is improvement, and there's been improvement in spaces like Music PEI, for example, but in terms of like management, in terms of management for Black artists, venues for Black artists, venues for Black music, whether it's hip hop or R&B or Afrobeat, or there's no venues that really want to showcase those types of music unless it's a kind of diverse showcase specifically, right? And that's there's exceptions to that, of course. I'm not saying that's across the board, but it's it's tough out there. But it is getting better, but there's still a lot to be done.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. What is the most important message that you want to send with your music?
I think for this album, we're sticking with radiating love and integrating community.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of positivity in our album. We talk a lot in the house about our relationship as a group of humans who interact on such a regular basis. And, we talk a lot about authenticity in those relationships. And in doing that, I think we build community amongst ourselves. Yes. I think that level of positivity and love shows through our music, I think.
Is there anything else that you want people to know about the Umbrella Collective?
One thing you should know is that all of us really do this from a place of love within ourselves. And after this, with the collective, each of it could be me or Sid or Charlie, as individuals, we carry the same energy. And that's what we want to put out there. And so you might see me by myself maybe at a show just for myself, but you'll still feel that you see energy. That's what I think I can put out there.
I love that.
I love that too. Since Valentine's Day is almost here, let's stick with a theme and play a track from Welcome to Studio UC, Find a Way to Your Heart. Yay. Tamara, Luik, so awesome to have you guys here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Let's hit it.
Yeah. You see.
Find a way to your heart. It's the start of the way to listen. It's time to be free of wishing. Find a way to your heart. It's simple. Find a way to your heart. It's simple. It's the start and the way to listen. It's time to be free of wishing. Find a way to your heart, it's simple. Find a way to your heart, it's simple. Find a way to your heart, it's simple. Find a way to your heart. Find a way to your heart.
Bars or words like this can't move with ease. Adjust the fact that your heart is light. In the middle of the night, it can shine so bright. Trust. And when we fly or move around town, we bring our own sound. You see, and the vibes are up or down. Either way, it's passing, I'm going off in a minute. I never had to be timid about it. I'm living life to the max. I'm bringing you energy. That is how we evolve. Share the love to the core. Backslide a little like MJ. Sounds will come. The beginning of press play. Leg day. Never want to miss the beginning of strength. And the way we pray in the night or day is a sign that words don't fall on deaf ears. Next year, this time we're just air. Next year, this time we're just air.
I've been on the law for a minute now. I don't know what's up or what's going down. I just know I'm blessed and my spirit high. I just know I'm blessed and I'm collecting up and you know it's fire. You get with us, you ain't gotta lie. Elevate your energy and find peace. Look between the lines and find me. But you can do 5 or 30. me some pieces. Ever since the boys been me off in Reese's. Spot the snake right before we hisses. So step on that bitch, screaming, thank you, Jesus.
The Umbrella Collective, looking to find a way to your heart on isletunes. They've certainly found a way into the hearts of island music fans, you know? I'll wrap things up for y'all after a message from this week's sponsor. Back in a jiff, or is that Skippy?
Longing to refresh your wardrobe but don't want to break the bank doing it? Give yourself the treat of repeats. Clothes? Of course they have clothes, but Repeats also stocks accessories, jewelry, shoes, plus household items and decorations. And let's not forget costumes, including props and makeup you usually can only find elsewhere at Halloween. All for prices so fabulous, you can work the runway your way. Repeats. Quality used clothing for the whole family and year-round costume center. 95 Capitol Drive in Charlottetown, in the Owl's Hollow building. You'll definitely make a repeat trip to Repeats.
And that's going to do it for another episode of isletunes, and it's appropriate that we ended off with the Umbrella Collective's Find a Way to Your Heart, because next week will be the lead up to Valentine's Day, so we'll be exploring what island musicians have to say about love, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because lest we just harp on all the gushy stuff, there's also heartbreak to get into, plus reason to nod to those of us who are terminally single, and self-love's got to factor into it all too, single, coupled, thrupled, whatever. If you're looking for more island-only content, only video style, there's a bunch of clips featuring live performances plus expanded interviews up on the isletunes Patreon page. $5 a month and you get access to all of it with more going up all the time. Patreon.com/isletunes. If you're not into subscriptions but still want to help me produce this show, you can donate through PayPal, link in the description. And or you can wear your love for isletunes with merch available at isletunes.creator-spring.com. Again, all fundage goes toward the cost of doing up the podcast every week. Muchas mercies. You can also support isletunes by liking it on Facebook and Instagram and sharing posts that you see on there. Myself, I post links to where you can buy the music you hear on the show because elevating PEI musicians is what it's all about here, okay? Trevor Lowell Clements provided the Islanderism that started out this episode, which is number 75, by the way. Milestone time! If you want to hear your voice beginning an installment, send a recording of yourself uttering an island catchphrase to 902-807-4250 or amj@isletunes.ca. If you have comments or suggestions, those methods of contact work for those too. Musical contribution to the isletunes theme by Kaylin McCauley and John Hashem. Show concept by Rocky O'Neill. Coordination assistance by Jackie Robichaux. I'm Adam Michael James, and this episode was brought to you by Repeats. Quality used clothing for the whole family and year-round costume center. I hope you enjoyed this cross-section of music Prince Edward Island has to offer. Next Sunday, I'll be back with another 10 selection showcasing the island's talent and diversity, including another salute to Black History Month. It's a scary time out there with our neighbor to the south throwing his considerable orange weight around. Not content to cause trouble for the U.S., he's causing trouble for Canada as well. And there's not much a guy with a podcast can do except to say, it's our differences that make us beautiful and strong. And in the words of Dutch diplomat Gijs de Vries, ultimately freedom and democracy are stronger than fear and tyranny. Yeah, know it. Thanks for listening, PEI. See you in 7.